Welcome, everybody, to Conversations That Matter for the New American Magazine. I'm your host, Alex Newman, and with us we have a returning guest, a very special guest. I've run into him at several events, including down at the border in Texas, and then also later in Orlando, Florida, at the CPAC. And he's running for Congress to take out an establishment Democrat who has been instrumental in the weaponization of our schools against our country, against our families, against our children. His name is Terry Namkung. He is running in Virginia in the 3rd District up there. Terry, thank you so much for joining us. You've got a doctorate in business. You're an Air Force veteran. You spent 21 years in the Air Force. You've worked at the Pentagon. But one of your big concerns in this campaign is what's happening to our children. And, under normal circumstances, I'd say, well, hey, why are we even talking about this with a candidate for federal office? The feds have absolutely no business involved in education. And yet your opponent has been a huge force in basically weaponizing our schools. Tell us about what he's been up to in his position as chair of the Education and Labor Committee in the House.
All right. Thank you, Alex, for having me. I'm Terry Namkung. To the audience members. One of the reasons why, I don't know if you all saw my video, I made a video because people do not realize that Democratic Committee Chair Bobby Scott, he's the one that's in charge of the Education and Labor Committee. And he's one of those behind the scene Democrats that no one really knows about, but he has a lot of power and influence as a Democrat, as a Democratic leader. He's been in Congress for 30 years, but ultimately he's an individual that calls school choice racist and segregated, and that school choice provides, students, non-academic opportunities. School choice, in his opinion, is extremely important. To me, it gives our students, who live in a disadvantaged or underperforming districts, the opportunities to attend schools that allow them to achieve academic excellence. But he's the one that the Democrats passed H.R. 5, also called the Equality Act, which allows biological men who identify as women to use female locker rooms and bathrooms under the guise of equity or equality. In reality, what it does is it denies, biology and puts our young women in dangerous situations. So we've seen it right here in Virginia, in Loudoun County, public schools, the effects of HR 5, where young girls, have been interacting with men who claim that they were girls. So overall, instead of indoctrinating our children, gender and race identity, we need to be teaching our children, arithmetic, writing, and the things that we fundamentally need to teach our children. So,
yeah. And, why do you think Bobby Scott and the Democrats more broadly, not just at the federal level, of course, but they're doing this in Virginia, at least they were until Republicans took back power there. Why do you think Democrats are doing this? Why are they so obsessed with forcing this transgenderism on our little students? I'm here in Florida, and, the left and the Democrats are up in arms about a bill that prohibits sexualizing children ages 9 and below. I mean, we're talking about 3rd graders here. And all the bill does is say you shouldn't be teaching them about transgenderism and homosexuality when they're little kids. Why do you think the Democrats are so obsessed with this issue, even when they know it's not politically popular? I mean, even run-of-the-mill Democrats don't think our little children in kindergarten need to be sexualized. Why is the political class among Democrats pushing this so fiendishly?
Ultimately, the left is using public school curriculum to attack conservative principles, by indoctrinating our children. And also, essentially attacking our next generation. And if you attack our children early on, it's a sign of Marxism. You attack the children early, then it infiltrates through the development through life, and also family. So
yeah. Yeah. And, the feds under the Biden administration, with, of course, the full support of the Democrat Congress, have been really working on peddling this critical race theory in the schools. In fact, they were doing it openly. The Biden administration's education department put out a document by name proposing the insertion of this ridiculous 1619 project. Why do you think they're pushing this race mongering into the classroom? What do you think is their objective with that?
Well, I think, ultimately what it does is it gives the Democrats an opportunity, you know, to, say conservatives are racist, using reverse racism in the school districts, et cetera. So a guy like me that is a Black conservative Republican, I know CRT is not something that's conducive to unity. So you can't call me racist because I'm not a racist, and I'm not saying anyone else is, but you can't use the attack ideology any longer, and that's why there's a lot of Black conservatives that are stepping up, making sure that fundamentally we are sound with the commandments and also the Constitution.
Fantastic. And if and when you get elected to Congress, it looks like you're going to be the Republican nominee. At least there's a very good chance of that. We'll find out very soon. But if you get elected to Congress, and assuming there's a Republican majority, it looks very much now, if they don't steal the election, at least if they don't cheat, it looks like there's going to be a pretty significant shift toward Republican control of the Congress. What would you like to see happen in terms of legislation dealing with this, reversing some of this? What do you see the role of Republican lawmakers in Congress as going forward here?
Yeah, definitely. What we need to do is be in lockstep. There's going to be a lot of freshman congressional conservatives that are going to be in Congress, and I think one by one we promote conservatism and also unity. But then also, if there are Democrats or liberals that are against um, American policy and also conservatism, then we have to assist the people to vote them out one by one, and that's what it'll take. And we'll block any policy that's not for America and also conservative values, and that's what we're going to do. So we have a lot of individuals out there right now that are going to flip the seats from blue to red, and we're going to be the anti-squad for the conservative movement. So
nice. For decades now, in fact, for generations, going back to right at the beginning of the establishment of the U.S. Department of Education, conservatives have been trying to dismantle it. In fact, Ronald Reagan campaigned on a platform of dismantling and abolishing the Department of Education. There is a bill that's been introduced the last several Congresses. We've had the congressman who's been the chief sponsor of that on this program and on the New American several times, Representative Thomas Massey. I think it's HR 899, if I'm not mistaken. And a very simple bill. It just says, the U.S. Department of Education shall be terminated on this date. What do you think? Should we be shutting down the U.S. Department of Education, or do you think the federal government should have some role in education policy?
I think government overreach has definitely been evident, especially under this new administration. And I think the Department of Education should be dismantled, and then the rights should go towards the states. So I totally agree with it.
Fantastic. Terry, in the last couple of minutes we have left, what are some other issues that you're really going to be fighting on? We spent a lot of time today talking about education. The last time we saw you were at the border in Texas. You talked about what was going on with the illegal immigration. They were making a mess on military bases, bringing in the transgenderism and emptying out the barracks so they could house illegal immigrants. I guess future Democrat voters, they hope. What are some of the other policies you want to focus on in your first term in Congress?
Yeah, one of the policies that I definitely want to help out is the military members that are getting kicked out of service for vaccine mandates. They're getting denied religious exemptions. So that's an area that I want to definitely assist on, and also veteran communities. Right, there are a lot of veterans out there that are not being helped by the Veterans Administration. One of the first things I want to do is gather qualitative data among veterans, especially in the VA administration, VA hospitals, et cetera, and ask them, hey, what do you need from a member like myself and others? And, and we're going to basically, remove and reboot the entire VA system if possible. And then in this area, in the 3rd district, there's a lot of crime. There's a lot of poverty. We want to make sure that we appropriate funding to this, to our district, and make sure that the funding is going to the correct places and allocated correctly. So economics, helping out the VA, and then also religious freedom is one of the areas that I definitely want to be a catalyst for. Yep. So.
Very good. And Terry, what's the best place to find you?
Yes. Thank you so much, Alex. Well, you could visit my website at namkungforvirginia.com, NAMKUNG for Virginia.com. And you will see my video there speaking about this, about HR 5 and also the gender and race identity crisis that's going on here in Virginia. We look for your support, whether you're text messaging, emailing, and then also ultimately fundraising and donations. So
fantastic. Well, Terry, thank you for jumping into the race. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to talking to you when you're the next congressman for Virginia's
Yes,
3rd
sir.
district. Thanks again. We appreciate it, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
All right. All righty, folks. That was Terry Namkung, next congressman from Virginia's 3rd district, Republican, running there against Bobby Scott, a powerful but little-known Democrat who's been chairing the education, quote-unquote, committee and further weaponizing our public schools against our families and our country. I'm Alex Newman. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, God bless you all.